Welcome to the channel. Share where you're watching from. We'd love to find out. So drop a comment below, and let's jump into the story. She was just a housekeeper, until one business dinner turned her world upside down. What she said that night shocked everyone, especially her arrogant boss. Don't miss this unbelievable journey of transformation. A divorced entrepreneur, Nathan Harper, reluctantly invited his housekeeper to a critical business dinner, unaware that her actions that evening would leave everyone at the table in stunned silence. Sophia Blake, a 35-year-old housekeeper, had been working in Nathan's sprawling mansion in Seattle, Washington, for nearly 3 years. She was diligent and reserved, but never expected the arrogant businessman to make such a strange request. Nathan, a successful but emotionally distant CEO, faced mounting challenges in his company, Harper Dynamics, and needed to impress influential investors to secure a deal. With time running out to find a proper companion for the evening, he spotted Sophia cleaning the shelves in his study and issued an abrupt order. "I need you to accompany me to an important dinner tonight," Nathan said coldly. "This isn't a request. It's an assignment. Be punctual, presentable, and quiet. I need someone without opinions who can stay invisible." Sophia blinked, surprised but masked her feelings. Though his tone was demeaning, she recognized this as a rare opportunity to break out of the shadows. With a composed nod, she agreed, sensing that this evening could be the turning point she had long awaited. That evening, Sophia appeared outside the Bellevue Atrium, a prestigious and modern restaurant in the heart of Seattle. Dressed in an elegant navy blue gown that highlighted her understated beauty, she appeared poised yet slightly nervous. Nathan, who was waiting impatiently near the valet, barely glanced at her. "Let's not waste time," he muttered, leading her inside as though she were an afterthought. The restaurant's atmosphere was an intoxicating blend of sophistication and exclusivity. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered breathtaking views of the Seattle skyline, and the aroma of gourmet dishes filled the air. As they entered, Nathan's commanding presence turned a few heads, but it was Sophia's quiet elegance that caught others' attention. Nathan introduced her to the group with deliberate indifference. "This is Sophia," he said curtly, omitting her last name and any further detail before directing his attention back to the investors. Seated at the table were 4 powerful men in tailored suits, their polished demeanor projecting both wealth and influence. Among them was Edward Sinclair, a seasoned investor with sharp eyes and a reputation for uncovering hidden talent. The men exchanged polite but dismissive glances at Sophia, clearly puzzled by her presence. As the dinner began, Nathan dominated the conversation, discussing quarterly projections, market trends, and Harper Dynamics' future plans. Sophia sat quietly, observing the intricate interplay of egos and power dynamics at the table. Despite her silence, her sharp mind absorbed every detail, from the tone of Nathan's voice to the subtle reactions of the investors. Halfway through the evening, Edward Sinclair, the most imposing figure at the table, turned his attention to Sophia. With a faint smirk, he broke the rhythm of the conversation. "So, Sophia," he said, his tone laced with condescension, "what's it like to attend a business dinner like this? A bit overwhelming, isn't it?" The question hung in the air, and Nathan froze. He had explicitly instructed her to remain invisible, and this was a moment he feared. Sophia, however, refused to let the implied insult rattle her. She straightened in her chair and smiled graciously. "Not overwhelming," she replied confidently. "In fact, it's fascinating to observe how numbers and strategy dominate the discussion. But I believe that understanding the people behind those numbers is just as critical to success." Her unexpected response silenced the table. Even Edward, known for his cutting remarks, raised an intrigued eyebrow. Nathan clenched his jaw, irritation flickering in his eyes, but he said nothing. Edward let out a small chuckle. "An interesting perspective," he remarked, his tone now less condescending and more curious. Around the table, the other investors exchanged glances, their interest in Sophia suddenly piqued. Nathan's discomfort grew as Edward, seemingly ignoring him, continued engaging Sophia in conversation. When the topic turned to corporate social responsibility, a subject Nathan typically avoided, Edward directly involved her. "Tell me, Sophia," Edward began, leaning slightly forward. "What's your take on companies contributing to the communities they operate in?" Sophia hesitated for a brief moment, aware of Nathan's warning to stay silent. But then, with a steady voice, she said, "I think it's essential. Businesses don't exist in isolation. They thrive because of the people and communities around them. Supporting those communities isn't just ethical, it's smart. It builds trust, loyalty, and a lasting legacy." The room grew quiet. The investors, who had initially dismissed her, now regarded her with genuine respect. Nathan's expression hardened. The evening was slipping out of his control. As the night wore on, Sophia's presence at the table became impossible to ignore. Her calm demeanor and thoughtful insights contrasted sharply with Nathan's calculated arrogance. Edward and the others began addressing her directly, drawing her into discussions Nathan had hoped to dominate. By the time dessert was served, Nathan's frustration was palpable. He leaned towards Sophia and whispered harshly, "I told you to stay quiet. This isn't your place." Sophia met his glare with quiet defiance. "I didn't speak out of turn. I simply answered the questions they asked." After the dinner concluded, the investors lingered, their attention still on Sophia. Edward even complimented her directly. "You're refreshing, Sophia," he said with a smile. "You should consider stepping into the corporate world. You clearly have a knack for it." Nathan barely acknowledged Edward's comment, his mood sour as they exited the restaurant. As they walked back to the car, Nathan stayed several steps ahead, his frustration evident. Back at his mansion, Nathan called Sophia into his office. His voice was sharp, his temper barely restrained. "What were you thinking tonight? I told you to stay in the background, not to upstage me in front of my investors." Sophia, unfazed by his anger, replied evenly, "I wasn't trying to upstage you. They asked me questions, and I answered them honestly. If they valued my input, that's not something I can control." "You're a housekeeper, Sophia," Nathan snapped, "not a business consultant. Know your place." Sophia's composure didn't falter. "Maybe you should reconsider what my place is," she said quietly before leaving the room. That night, Sophia packed her belongings in the small quarter she occupied at Nathan's mansion. His harsh words echoed in her mind, but she refused to let them diminish her sense of accomplishment. She had spoken her truth and made an impression, one she felt would lead to something greater. The next morning, as she placed the last of her belongings into a modest suitcase, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. The number was unfamiliar, and she hesitated before answering. "Hello, this is Sophia," she said cautiously. "Sophia Blake?" "This is Edward Sinclair," the voice on the other end replied, his tone warm and calm. Sophia's breath caught. Of all the people she had met the previous evening, Edward was the last person she expected to hear from. "I hope I'm not disturbing you," he continued. "I wanted to let you know how impressed I was by your insights last night. You carried yourself with grace and confidence, qualities that are often hard to find. I believe someone with your perspective could be a valuable addition to my team." Sophia was momentarily speechless. She had never envisioned herself stepping into the corporate world, let alone being offered an opportunity by a man of Edward's stature. Collecting her thoughts, she finally managed to reply, "I'm flattered, Mr. Sinclair, but I have no experience in your field." Edward chuckled. "Experience can be gained, Sophia. What matters is your integrity, your ability to think critically, and the confidence to speak up when it counts. I saw all of that last night. If you're interested, I'd like to offer you a position with training included. What do you say?" Sophia's heart raced. The opportunity was daunting but exhilarating. I'd be honored," she said finally. "Thank you for believing in me." Over the next few months, Sophia immersed herself in her new role at Sinclair Ventures, a prominent investment firm. Under Edward's mentorship, she quickly developed a knack for analyzing business strategies, managing projects, and fostering relationships with clients. Her background as a housekeeper gave her a unique perspective on teamwork, resilience, and problem-solving, qualities that set her apart from her colleagues. Sophia's dedication and natural leadership skills didn't go unnoticed. She rose swiftly within the company, earning the respect of her peers and the admiration of Edward, who became her staunchest advocate. Meanwhile, Nathan Harper's fortunes took a turn for the worse. Harper Dynamics, already struggling, began losing key investors due to his inability to adapt. His reputation as a cold, arrogant leader further alienated potential partners, leaving the company on the brink of collapse. As the situation worsened, Nathan was blindsided by the news that Sinclair Ventures had acquired a controlling stake in Harper Dynamics. To his astonishment, Sophia Blake was appointed as one of the key leaders overseeing the company's restructuring. The first leadership meeting between Nathan and Sophia was tense. It was held in the sleek boardroom of Sinclair Ventures' Seattle headquarters, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. Nathan entered the room exuding his usual air of superiority, but the sight of Sophia seated among the executives brought him to an abrupt halt. Sophia, now confident and composed, met his gaze without flinching. She was no longer the timid housekeeper he had dismissed, but a respected leader who had earned her place at the table. As the meeting progressed, Sophia presented innovative strategies for reviving Harper Dynamics. Her ideas focused on balancing profitability with community engagement, a stark contrast to Nathan's cutthroat approach. The other executives listened intently, nodding in agreement as she spoke. Nathan, however, struggled to hide his frustration. His voice was sharp when he finally interjected. "And what qualifies you to dictate the future of my company, Sophia?" he sneered. Sophia paused, her expression calm but resolute. "I'm not here to dictate, Nathan. I'm here to collaborate. This isn't just about saving a company. It's about building something meaningful for the people who depend on it. If you can't see that, then perhaps you're part of the problem." Her words hung in the air, a bold challenge that left Nathan momentarily speechless. The room fell silent before Edward Sinclair broke the tension with a chuckle. "I think Sophia has made her point," he said, casting an approving glance in her direction. Nathan left the meeting seething, his thoughts racing. The sight of Sophia in a position of authority unnerved him, but her words lingered in his mind. She had challenged not just his leadership, but his very identity as a businessman. For the first time, he found himself questioning his methods. A few days later, Sophia invited Nathan to join her on a visit to one of the community outreach programs funded by Harper Dynamics under Sinclair Ventures' guidance. Reluctantly, Nathan agreed, though he was skeptical about the program's value. The visit took place at the Emerald Horizons Training Center, located in a vibrant but underserved neighborhood in Seattle. As they entered the center, Nathan was greeted by the sound of laughter and the sight of people bustling with purpose. Participants of all ages were learning new skills: coding, carpentry, graphic design, and more. Sophia guided Nathan through the facility, introducing him to several participants. Among them was Lila, a single mother who had secured a stable job thanks to the training program, and Marcus, a former factory worker now retrained for a leadership role in logistics. Their stories were heartfelt and inspiring, but it was Elena, a shy teenager, who left the deepest impression. Elena shared her journey of overcoming adversity through the program. "Before this, I didn't think I had any options," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "But now I'm learning to code, and I've been offered an internship. I finally feel like I have a future." Nathan was uncharacteristically silent. The stories he heard chipped away at his cynicism, forcing him to confront the human impact of Sophia's vision. For years, he had viewed people as numbers on a balance sheet, but now he saw their faces, heard their struggles, and felt the weight of his past indifference. Later that evening, as they left the training center, Nathan turned to Sophia. "I'll admit," he began reluctantly, "what I saw today was eye-opening. These programs, they're making a real difference." Sophia nodded, her expression calm. "This is what leadership should be about, Nathan. It's not just about profits. It's about creating opportunities and building trust." Nathan sighed, his usual confidence replaced by uncertainty. "I've spent so long chasing numbers, I don't even know where to start." Sophia looked at him with a rare softness. "Start by listening. Start by valuing the people who make success possible. It's never too late to change." In the weeks that followed, Nathan began attending more community events, immersing himself in the program Sophia had championed. Slowly but surely, his perspective shifted. He started listening to employees, asking for feedback, and even taking an active role in new initiatives. Though skeptical at first, his board members began noticing the change in his approach. At one such community event in Beacon Gardens, a large park recently revitalized through Harper Dynamics efforts, something unexpected happened. Sophia and Nathan had organized a public skills fair, drawing hundreds of attendees from across Seattle. The fair featured workshops, career counseling, and booths showcasing local businesses. As Sophia addressed the crowd, speaking passionately about the company's commitment to uplifting the community, a sudden commotion erupted. A small child had wandered too close to a booth displaying power tools and accidentally activated a piece of equipment. Reacting swiftly, Nathan dashed forward and shielded the child before anyone else could act. Though the incident ended without injury, his quick thinking and genuine concern left a lasting impression on everyone present. Later, as reporters swarmed the scene, one asked Nathan what motivated him to act so instinctively. His response was uncharacteristically humble. "For once, I wasn't thinking about myself. I was thinking about what matters, people. This company's future depends on them." The moment was a turning point, not just for Nathan's public image, but for his relationship with Sophia. Seeing his growth firsthand, she began to believe that his transformation was genuine. Nathan's transformation didn't go unnoticed. Employees at Harper Dynamics began to see glimpses of a new leader, one who valued collaboration over command. Though skeptical at first, their trust grew as Nathan consistently showed a willingness to learn and adapt. Sophia continued to guide him, their interactions now marked by mutual respect rather than hostility. Meanwhile, Sophia's influence within Sinclair Ventures flourished. Her initiatives focused on bridging the gap between profitability and social responsibility, and her leadership became a beacon for change within the corporate world. Edward Sinclair, ever the mentor, encouraged her to push boundaries, often remarking, "You're the kind of leader this industry needs, Sophia." A pivotal moment came during a high-stakes board meeting at Harper Dynamics. The agenda was critical, deciding the future of the company's community-focused initiatives. Some board members, resistant to change, argued that the programs drained resources and detracted from financial goals. Nathan, for the first time, stood firmly in defense of the initiatives. "Leadership isn't about short-term gains," Nathan said, his voice steady. "It's about creating value that lasts for our stakeholders, our employees, and the communities we serve. These programs aren't a distraction. They're our legacy." Sophia watched from her seat, a faint smile of approval on her face. When Nathan finished, she added, "Our greatest strength as a company isn't just what we produce. It's the trust we build. These initiatives are proof that we understand the power of that trust." The board, swayed by their combined arguments, voted to expand the programs. The victory cemented Sophia and Nathan's partnership as a force for good within the company. As they worked more closely, the dynamic between Sophia and Nathan began to change. Their late-night strategy sessions often drifted into personal conversations, revealing layers of vulnerability neither had shown before. One evening, while reviewing plans for an upcoming project, Nathan paused and looked at Sophia. "I owe you an apology," he said, his tone uncharacteristically soft, "for how I treated you before. I thought strength came from control, but you've shown me it comes from connection." Sophia met his gaze, her expression thoughtful. "People can change, Nathan. You've proven that. But what matters is what you do next." Their conversations deepened, and with time, their bond grew stronger. Nathan admired Sophia's unwavering integrity and sharp mind, while Sophia saw in Nathan the potential for genuine transformation. One crisp autumn evening, during a walk through Cedar Ridge Park, a serene spot just outside Seattle, Nathan stopped abruptly. The park's towering trees and golden leaves created a picturesque backdrop as he turned to Sophia. "Sophia," he began, his voice filled with emotion, "you've not only changed the way I see the world, you've changed me. I can't imagine moving forward without you by my side, in business or in life." Sophia's breath caught. Though she had sensed his growing affection, hearing him say it outright was unexpected. After a moment, she smiled. "Nathan, this journey has been about more than either of us. but I think we've found something worth building together. Nathan pulled a small velvet box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a simple yet elegant ring. "Will you take this step with me?" he asked. With tears in her eyes, Sophia nodded. Yes. The engagement between Sophia and Nathan marked the beginning of a new era, not just for their personal lives, but for the future of Harper Dynamics. Their partnership, built on mutual respect and a shared vision, quickly became the driving force behind the company's remarkable transformation. Under Sophia and Nathan's leadership, Harper Dynamics evolved into a model of corporate responsibility. Their initiatives, which once faced skepticism, expanded across the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Programs aimed at empowering underserved communities, providing career training, and fostering innovation became the cornerstone of the company's identity. One of their most ambitious projects was Future Pathways, a mentorship program connecting experienced professionals with young adults seeking to break into competitive industries. The initiative quickly gained national attention, earning awards for its impact on education and employment. At a gala honoring the program, Sophia delivered a heartfelt speech. "When we invest in people," she said, "we're not just building careers, we're building futures. Success isn't measured by profits alone, but by the lives we touch." Nathan, standing beside her, added, "And it's thanks to leaders like Sophia that I finally understand what leadership truly means, serving others." The room erupted in applause, a testament to how far they had come as individuals and as a team. As their professional successes mounted, Sophia and Nathan's personal relationship flourished. They balanced their demanding roles with moments of simplicity, quiet dinners at home, long walks in Cedar Ridge Park, and shared dreams of what they could achieve together. Their wedding was a modest yet elegant affair held in a vineyard overlooking the Puget Sound. Close friends, colleagues, and community members whose lives they had impacted gathered to celebrate the union. Edward Sinclair, ever the mentor, gave a toast that perfectly captured the essence of their journey. "Sophia and Nathan's story isn't just about success," he said. "It's about redemption, resilience, and the power of believing in people. Together, they've shown us what's possible when we lead with purpose." Years later, Harper Dynamics stood as a beacon of ethical leadership. Sophia and Nathan continued to push boundaries, expanding their initiatives to new regions and inspiring other companies to adopt similar values. Their story became a case study in business schools, illustrating how integrity and innovation could coexist. One memorable moment came during a visit to a school supported by the Future Pathways program. A young girl approached Sophia, clutching a handmade thank you card. "Because of your program," she said shyly, "I want to be a scientist. You made me believe I can do it." Sophia knelt to meet her gaze. "You can do anything," she said with a warm smile. "And one day, you'll inspire someone else to do the same." In their later years, Sophia and Nathan reflected on their journey. What began as an unlikely partnership had blossomed into a life filled with purpose, love, and lasting impact. Sitting together on the porch of their home, overlooking the Sound, Nathan turned to Sophia. "Do you think we've done enough?" he asked, his voice thoughtful. Sophia smiled, her eyes reflecting the gratitude she felt. "We've planted seeds, Nathan. The rest is up to the people we've helped, and I think they'll surprise us." Hand in hand, they watched the sun set over the water, knowing that their legacy would endure in the lives they had touched and the futures they had shaped.